Hello, everyone. My name is Ryan Garcia, and this is Fireside Yankees. And earlier in the week, I reported that the New York Yankees are expected to show interest in outfielder Luis Robert. And when talking to people with knowledge of the situation, Luis Robert Jr. is a player who the Yankees believe can make an impact positively on their roster. We're going to talk about why they feel that way. We're going to talk a little bit about that report that I had on EmpireSportsMedia.com. I'll have the link into the article in the comment section and in the bio, so you guys can check that out. And we're going to break down Luis Robert, talk a little bit about where teams are coming from in their interest for Robert, some concerns that there is to be had with Robert, both from a injury perspective and a production perspective. We're going to talk about all of that and more right here on Fireside Yankees. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure you like, subscribe, turn on that notification bell to check out Fireside Yankees on all of your favorite social media platforms. And I'd also ask that you guys comment in the comment section below, letting me know if you guys would want or not want Luis Robert Jr. on the New York Yankees. Without further ado, let's just jump right into today's video. Now, when I say expected to express interest in Luis Robert Jr., I say that to mean that I expect that the Yankees in the coming weeks will make a phone call to the Chicago White Sox to ask about Luis Robert Jr., inquire about his price point, talk a little bit deeper than just, hey, is he available for trade? Cool. All right. I expect them to be a team that's involved in that trade conversation. Furthermore, I say expected to because I am not aware of the fact that they've made any calls of that nature just yet to any team. So I don't want to overstate or overreport or go on an assumption. I want to report what I know, and what I know is that they like the player. So in the case of Luis Robert Jr. this past season, he hit 14 home runs in 110 games played. He stole 33 bases, was caught 8 times, so an efficient base stealer but with high volume. He struck out in 26% of plate appearances with a 9.3% walk rate and 84 WRC plus, meaning he was 16% worse than league average. His 661 OPS, again, that's firmly below average, and a 297 on base percentage. It wasn't the kind of year that you look at and go, yep, I want to add that player to a team that's trying to win the World Series. But when you peel the layers back and you take a little bit of a deeper dive into Luis Robert's game, into his profile, what he provides on a day-to-day basis, he is still an excellent defensive center fielder. This past season, he was worth 7 fielding run value and had 7 outs above average in 865 and 2/3 innings out there in center field. He's an excellent center fielder. He's got great instincts. He moves very well. His arm is usually lagged behind his range throughout his career, but the range is elite, and I think that's the most important tool when we talk about a center fielder. Now, in regard to his offensive game, and I think this is where a lot of fans are going to have concerns here, he has not been a good hitter in each of the last 2 seasons. Between 2024 and 2025, Robert is hitting .223 with a .288 on base percentage. He has struck out in nearly 30% of plate appearances over that time span and has an 8% walk rate. He has not been a good hitter. He has struggled a lot throughout his career with consistency, with injuries, and in the last 2 seasons specifically, with just being a good hitter. It has been a real grind for Luis Robert Jr., but when you look at the underlying metrics, especially this past season, 2024 was just a bad year. 2025, I'm not convinced was a bad year. I think that there were things that went wrong for him from a luck standpoint, but I also believe that he was very unlucky. I believe that there were strides made in his game, and I think the Yankees see those things as well. Let's look at his expected OPS. It was 761. His actual OPS was 661, so he underperformed his OPS by over 100 points. If you look at players who have an OPS between 760 and 770, you find players this past year such as Randy Arozarena, Brandon Nimmo, Alejandro Kirk. These are guys who are firmly above average offensively, and as a plus defensive center fielder, if you're providing firmly above average offense, which I'm describing as about 10% better than the league average hitter, you're going to be a very important, a very productive, and a very impactful baseball player, especially when you factor in, again, Robert stole 33 bases in 110 games. He's an excellent base runner. He has been throughout his career. So I still believe that Luis Robert has it in there to be a good big league hitter. And if you compare this year with some of his career norms, his career swinging strike percentage entering the 2025 season was 17.7%. His chase percentage was 4.3%, and his walk percentage was 5.6%. So a lot of whiffs, a lot of chases, not a lot of walks. This past season, his swinging strike rate dropped from 17.5% to 17.7% to 15.7%. His chase rate 35.8%. His walk rate 9.3%. He had the best walk rate of his career. He had the lowest chase rate of his career, and he had one of the best swinging strike rates of his career. So he made more contact than he usually has. He chased less than he usually does. He walked way more than he ever has before. Those are positive signs for Luis Robert Jr. and for his ability to be a good big league hitter. You look at his strikeout to walk rate this past season, it was 0.36 for the walk to strikeout ratio. If you look at the league average mark across the season in 2025, the league average walk to strikeout ratio ended up being 0.38. So Luis Robert was essentially league average in that regard. And looking at his career, that has not been his case. He's always firmly been below average in that regard, and that's always been his issue. He had a 0.21 walk to strikeout rate. Again, that climbed up to 0.36 this year. So from firmly a below average to league average. The expected numbers were good. The chase rate was better. It was a better year for Luis Robert from a process standpoint than I think he gets a lot of credit for. The bat speed's still there. The sprint speed's still there. If you told me he goes out and puts up a 105 or a 110 OPS plus in 2025, I would not be shocked at all. I believe he's projected at around a 95 WRC plus on Steamer, so that's not too far off. It doesn't take much imagination to see him being a league average hitter. His projected OPS is 710. I mean, if his projected OPS is 710 and if he can overperform that by 20 or 30 points, he's going to be an elite caliber impact player because, again, he's such a good center fielder and he's such a good base runner. Now, there are concerns with this game, and I'm going to talk a little bit about what he brings to the table that's not attractive at all. Number one, it's the injuries. He has yet to play more than 150 games in his career. He's never reached the 150 game threshold. He has more years playing under, and I mean not just at, under 120 games than he has years playing over 140 games. He's only done it once, that being playing over 140 games. Granted, in 2020, he played 56 out of 60 games, so he was very healthy that year, but it was a shortened year. 21, not healthy. 22, not healthy. 23, pretty healthy. 24, 100 games, not healthy. 25, 110 games, not healthy. He missed 52 games. So this is a guy who's going to miss a lot of games, and that is a concern. And I think the Yankees are aware of that, and the trade market is aware of that. Teams are not forking over their top prospects for upside here. They're forking over, middle level, decent prospects, hoping, praying that the White Sox, every year that passes by, if they don't trade him, that it somehow materializes into the White Sox going, all right, we have nothing to lose at this point. We might as well trade the player and get what we can get at this point. I think teams are hoping that that's the case eventually. That has not been the case to this point. So that is where there is concern and there is some frustration on teams who've wanted to acquire Luis Robert Jr. for years now. But I also think that works in favor of Luis Robert Jr. in the sense of this is a guy who's played for a miserably bad White Sox organization for 2 years now. He has had nothing to play for 2 years. He knows he's going to get traded. He knows he's going to leave the organization. It's a matter of when, not if. He will not retire a White Sox. This past year still made strides and just didn't have the luck he was hoping for. I think that when you take a player like Luis Robert Jr. and a player who had a bright future, who looked like he was part of an emerging core, he grew up playing baseball in the big leagues. 2020, playoffs. 2021, playoffs. 2022, you enter the year with playoff expectations. 23, you hope, you pray. Maybe you can rebound after being a 500 team. You don't. 24, miserably bad. 25, miserably bad. I don't think it's crazy to suggest that putting him in an environment where these games matter, where there's something to play for, where there's an attainable goal, where there's not this, just toxic infrastructure around you, this toxic environment. I think if you pull him away from that and you put him in a organization like the Yankees where winning and being a winner, there's something to play for. There's something to play for. There's something to play for any given day. Postseason, you're going to go to the postseason. I say this all to say, Luis Robert Jr. is someone who I believe can be an excellent impact player without being an excellent hitter. He could be a good, an above average kind of hitter, but he is such a good defender. He is such a good base runner. I reiterate those things. He's a right-handed hitter. The Yankees don't have a lot of right-handed offense. And speaking to my dad earlier this morning, we're talking about the Yankees from the right-handed side. It's Judge. It's Stanton, who is also a liability injury-wise and is turning 36. Judge turning 34. It's not like he's much younger. And then it's Volpe. Volpe's your next right-handed hitter on your team. Maybe you want to argue it's Jose Caballero, but think about the argument we're having. Third best right-handed hitter on the team is Anthony Volpe or Jose Caballero. You put Luis Robert as your third best right-handed hitter. It's not a guarantee that he will be a great hitter, but I think there's a better chance of him being a great hitter than Caballero, than Volpe, and a better chance of being a great player than those two guys as well. I don't think you have to trade Dominguez to get Robert. And so I don't think that the Yankees have to completely deplete their outfield pool, but if they do move Dominguez this winter, which I think is possible, I've talked about that numerous times, I actually think he's going to get traded. That's just based on the fact the Yankees like left field defense, and they've tried to trade him before. But if Robert is here for this year and struggles against righties, you can have Jones come up and be your center fielder against righties. Robert's been awesome against left-handed pitching. Even this past season, 842 OPS, 473 slug, 369 on base in his career, 293 average, 369 on base, 505 slug, 872 OPS. He's 40% better than the league average hitter against left-handed pitching. That's across 545 plate appearances and 481 at-bats, so it's a pretty healthy sample size. Walks a lot, strikes out way less against lefties versus righties, so I think there is a world where he's just a good player and helps you and doesn't have to be platooned for. There have been years where he's been an effective hitter against right-handed pitching, and then there's the outcome where he's not very good against righties, and you kind of need to platoon him, you need to move him around the lineup, and you can just call up Jones and have that be the platoon partner and still have an effective center field group. But I say it all to say, Luis Robert Jr. is a talented baseball player. He's only 28 years old. Will turn 29 next August. He's under contract for one more year at $20 million. There's a club option that the Yankees could or could not pick up if they trade for him. If they pick it up, it means he had a good year. If they don't, it means he was not very good. And so, yeah, I think teams are going to be interested. The Yankees are a team that like him. I know the Mets had a ton of interest in him at the 2025 trade deadline. The Phillies had some interest. I expect the Mets to re-engage with the White Sox on this conversation. I don't know if I'd expect the Phillies, knowing that they had a great year from Bader and maybe want to just bring him back. But if that doesn't go the way they want it to, I imagine Robert is back on the table for them. I don't even think the Yankees, Mets, and Phillies are the only teams who could get involved here. Will the Dodgers call the White Sox and say, hey, we need a center fielder. We need someone who can play really good outfield defense. We'll move Pages to a corner, and we'll have Robert out here to replace, essentially Pages to replace Conforto, and you have Edman at second base. You can do that. I know Edman is traditionally more of an infielder and a better defender in the infield from what I understand. If you look at his center field defense the last few years, pretty average out there. Second base, absolutely elite. That's his bread and butter position. So I do wonder if the Yankees maybe have some competition there, but those are teams that are all pretty good. Mets are a smart organization. David Stearns is a smart guy. We look at the Phillies. Dave Dombrowski is aggressive, but he is a smart guy. He's a very seasoned GM. And the Dodgers are the best organization in baseball. And I expect all three of these teams to have a degree of interest in Luis Robert Jr. So, again, it's not that the Yankees absolutely need to acquire Luis Robert Jr., but I do believe that there's value in acquiring him. I believe the Yankees are going to have interest. I think that in speaking again to people with knowledge of the situation, Luis Robert Jr. is a player they like. He's a player that they would like to bring onto the roster at their price. It's not just go out and sell all your assets to get him. It's not get him instead of Bellinger. I think you would be able to get Bellinger still, put him in left field, have Robert in center field, and have a really darn good outfield defense and a lineup that might be able to put up a good amount of offense. You might get that year out of Robert that you've been hoping for. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Do you think the Yankees should trade for Luis Robert? Do you think he makes sense for the Yankees? If so, again, let us know in the comment section below. If you don't think he makes sense for the Yankees, again, voice your opinion. We want to know. Again, if you enjoy this video, like, subscribe, turn on that notification bell to check out Fireside Yankees and get updates on our next uploads. We appreciate your continued support. We really believe that you guys have been awesome to us, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great rest of your day, and peace out.
Perfect.